Do you ever wonder what happened to your friends from high school? I mean, you were so close. You laughed together, you cried together, you shared some of the best years of your lives together. And yet, somehow through life, you just lost touch. Now it's time to relive those moments once again. Introducing the podcast that takes you back in time to the place where it all began. This is Class Reunion. We're bringing you all the gossip, secrets, and scandals from your high school days that you won't want to miss. Join us as we catch up with old classmates and dive into the wildest stories from our high school days. From those legendary parties to the infamous cliques, we're spilling all the tea on who's who and what really went down. So grab a seat, turn your volume up, and get ready for a trip down memory lane. Class Reunion, the podcast that reunites us all. All right, listeners. Today, I want to welcome my friend, entrepreneur, favorite dog mom, Denise Kort.
That's me.
Hi, Denise. Yes,
Hi.
yes. How are you?
I'm good. It's so nice to see you.
You too. Thank you so much in advance for doing this. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm just so glad you were open to doing it. So thank you.
My pleasure.
We did see Oliver as we were setting up. So he is your newest Pomsky, which would be a Pomeranian Husky, correct?
Yes. He's 3.
I had not seen that breed before, so he's adorable.
Thank you.
But I have to say, I have personal regret that you and I have talked, on and off over the years. And I never got to meet Dylan. And Dylan was just such a sweet angel and loved to roll in the snow. And so I was always regretting the fact that I didn't get to meet Dylan.
Yeah, he was a big part of my life for a long time.
Yeah. How old was he when he...
Well, I had him 11 years and I rescued him. They thought he was 4. So 14, 15. Yeah, he lived a good life.
He did. I mean, you spoiled him rotten. And I remember feeling fortunate because when I moved to Florida, which we're going to talk about because you and I bonded over Florida stoplights, I couldn't get over the storms in Florida. So the lightning is real. It's shocking. And I had 2 dogs at the time when I first moved down. And I was like, boy, they're just not bothered, which probably means their hearing wasn't there. But
right.
I remember Dylan so much, like with the thunder jacket and being in the bathtub.
Being in the bathtub. That's where his safe place. Yeah.
Yes. So I felt like knock on, the desk that I didn't have that issue because it's hard to deal with if you don't
so
have a
sad.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
But yes, when I moved to Florida, we stayed in touch. And then you had family here, still do. Mm-hmm. And you and I used to text each other about the stupid stoplights.
Oh my God, those stoplights. They you could read a whole book. It was so bad.
It was a big adjustment. Now, I mean, who's to say, and not to get off on stoplights, but they're very long in Florida and you can read a book, but then you're going to get through it. So you know how normally in Michigan, if you're like the 5th or 6th car, it's 50-50 that you're going to be able to make a left-hand turn. You could be the 20th in a left-hand turn lane and you're going to make it because the lights are so long.
Yes.
So it's like catch-22, but
okay.
Do you still come down to the Tampa area?
Okay. Well, not Tampa area.
Okay.
My sister lives in Boynton Beach.
Okay, yeah.
And that's where my parents used to live.
Yes.
And then my very good friends live in Boca. So I get down there quite a bit.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Well, here we are talking like girlfriends, but Sue, who cares? I'm in Naples now.
Right.
So somehow I know Boca's still far away, but if we meet halfway or something,
absolutely. I'll let you know for sure.
Yes. And you have your sisters. So
yes.
You want to share real quick your sisterhood?
I'm so blessed.
Yes, you are.
I am. My oldest sister is 70 and she lives in Boynton Beach, but she's very young at heart. And that's Connie. Then Jackie lives in Chicago for like 35 years. And her and I are very, very close. Mm-hmm. And Sandy retired, her and her husband, to California about 5 years ago. Okay. So I used to love being the youngest, but now all 3 of my sisters are retired.
I know, right?
And I'm still working my butt off.
Well, I hear you, girl, because I'm starting over, basically. I mean, which is kind of why I wanted to do this, to stretch and do something out of the corporate world I was in for so long. What part of California, real quick?
Laguna Beach.
Oh, geez.
It's beautiful.
Oh, my gosh. That's gorgeous.
Yes.
And you travel a lot with them, which is really beautiful.
Yeah.
Speaking of your sister, so I've always been a very big fan of what you do, which we're going to get into. But I am fascinated to learn how you got into this family business. So you were a graduate. We're going to talk about high school in a minute, but I just want to give you some accolades here because I'm a Connie store fan. You graduated from Michigan State.
Yes.
And at that time, had no intention necessarily of going into the family business.
Correct.
Okay.
I had graduated state. I got married briefly. And I thought I was going to work and have kids and So, right before I got married, my parents' manager at the store had been caught stealing and they needed somebody to help out. And, they were getting older and they wanted someone to run their store. So they offered me the position. And here I am 34 years later, still, running the show.
But running the show in such a spectacular fashion that I want to talk about that too, because being in retail is tough as it is.
Yes.
And then you've dealt with so many setbacks economically, in that time. So just for our listeners, it's actually 60 years you've had the store, correct?
Almost 70. I know.
I saw your anniversary post. I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
So tell, it's a children's store, but share what you have all in there.
Well, so briefly, my parents started the business when my sister was a year old. She's 70. So, and it's called Connie's Children's Shop. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, it's 5,000 square feet of children's clothing, shoes, and accessories.
That's big.
Yeah, we specialize in school uniforms. We have a whole shoe department. We specialize in baptism and communion. We have play clothes and dressy clothes. It's a nice store.
I mean, I wish I had a little girl just for all the rain stuff that you have, the boots and
cute.
I mean, gosh, so cute.
Thank you.
So I love the store, and it's in St. Clair Shores.
Yeah.
But very fascinated. And I called you about this because, first of all, that's a lot of retail space with Amazon at your heels.
Yes.
So I love the fact that you have this loyal base and you do a very good job of appreciating your employees. I do see all the little accolades you put out, and you have a great staff. So you've created this really good environment there in such competitive mode. Have you ever thought about renewing the lease? Because we've talked about your lease being there and getting a smaller space, or has it just been you've had great also landlords of the building to be able to keep it there for so long?
We've been in the same block 70 years. We've moved.
Okay.
So we moved back into the space I'm in now 9 years ago. Yeah.
Really? Oh gosh. Okay.
So, but it's literally 5 doors down. So I still have a lease for 6 more years.
Much to your happiness.
And then we'll see what happens.
Well, there were 2 things I also, why I'm so proud of you. You dealt with the first issue. Well, maybe there was one even before 2008. I don't know. But 2008 was like this big crush to the economy.
2008 was the toughest for me. Yeah.
And how did you think this is it? Or what were your thoughts during that time?
Well, at the time, thankfully, we had a landlord that was very understanding. So we were able to pay less in rent.
Okay.
I bought less merchandise. My employees worked less hours. It was a struggle.
Yeah. I mean, it was a good, almost 2 years or?
It was, yeah, it was a while. And at the same time, my mom passed away.
That's right.
Yeah. So 2008 was not a good year.
No. No. And she was beautiful, by the way. I love that you post her pictures.
Thanks.
Very tough for that. And then, '08, and we had run into each other, like I had mentioned to you before. I had just moved down to Florida because of the economy. So I laid off my sales team, moved down to Florida. Of course, then they were hit too. But we kind of reconnected again at that point. And that's why I remember you trying to figure out how to juggle everything.
Yeah.
And then we have, wonderful COVID. So you just can't rest.
No.
And how did you deal with that? And especially Michigan with Gretchen, there was a much stricter length of time before things reopened. So how did that go?
So we were closed for 2.5 months, which was very scary. I thought that was it.
Again.
Right.
Yeah.
But I applied for grants and small business loans and the PPP. And it was hard. We did some online business and some, curbside pickup. But
that's what I was going to ask. Yeah.
I mean, that was like, Yeah. So I got to tell you, as soon as we opened back up, my business took off again.
And Denise, I just don't know how to say this to you. You do all this while Amazon is crushing people.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
It's amazing.
The internet is really our only competitor, but we have a niche. People want to try their kids' shoes on.
Right.
And they want to feel the material, and they want to buy a baby gift from Connie's, So
generation after generation, I'm sure you're meeting kids that, you remember them when they were little.
Yeah. Yes. The parent. Yes. So it's kind of cool.
Hey, sorry for the interruption. I've got some sweet news to share about Old Time Candy. They're all about bringing back the classic candies we grew up with and love. How, you ask? With the Decades box, of course. It's like taking a time machine back to your childhood, only sweeter. Personally, I've ordered from Old Time Candy to add some pizzazz to friends' milestone birthdays, and wow, was it a hit. Each box is jam-packed with goodies from the decade of your choice that will transport you back in time with a single bite. Plus, this family-owned business has been run by candy lovers for candy lovers since 2000. So if you're eager to relive the good old days, go ahead and check out Old Time Candy. You won't regret it. All right, now let's get back to the show.
We're going to talk about, what's next later in life. But if we can jump to real quick, because we're going to talk about high school, but the box of candy I sent, it is something I sent to the guests, to say thank you. But we talked a little bit about this. Did you ever have a store that you went to go pick up some candies, or what was your memory of like being a kid and going to get to the store? I'm trying to think of where you lived. I don't know that you had a bike ride. Yeah.
No, I lived at Walnut Lake in Inkster. So there was the Walnut Lake Market.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
So, and then there was Total gas station at Maple and Inkster. So those places. Yeah.
And you said you were a Sweet Tart fan.
Yes. Still am.
Yes. Well, have fun going through that little box. It's called a Decades box. So,
I will. Thank you.
Cool. Yes. So I originally called you to talk about high school, and I loved your honest answer, which was okay.
I was more of a junior high girl.
Yeah. So tell me about that, and I'm gonna share a funny story about that as well. So you went to
West Maple.
Yep.
And then Groves.
Yep. And you were like us. You came in with a grade behind us. So we weren't the youngest.
No, correct.
Was it teachers, school size, friendships? Like, what drew you to having that be your favorite time?
Junior high?
Yeah.
All of the above.
Me too.
Yeah. They were great teachers.
Mm-hmm.
I made my best friends that I still keep in contact with.
Yeah.
I just really, really love junior high.
Yeah, I do too.
High school, maybe it was too many people. I don't know.
Well, and it brought so many different new districts, right? So you had West Bloomfield, Southfield, Birmingham, a little bit of everything. So it was a clash of all different neighborhoods and lifestyles and people and all of that. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, I don't recall, but like, were you involved in anything in high school?
High school, sophomore year, I was a cheerleader.
Oh, yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yes.
Junior year, I did the play.
Okay.
The Whiz, I was a dancer.
And good.
Am I allowed to say this? Senior year, I just partied.
Yeah. Listen, the stories that have been told, you can say whatever you want. We've talked about it all, that's for sure. We've talked about the Toga Party, all of that. Were there any parties that you remember that were classics in your neighborhood or that you went to?
Well, the best party was the Toga Party. We had it at 6 o'clock in the morning.
I know.
I think it was at Rich McNamara's house.
It was, and I've interviewed him already, so you'll have to listen to that episode because it's hilarious.
Hilarious.
And one of the things I thought about back then is, because I had parties at my house, and I don't recall ever setting them up. It would be like, my parents went to a Detroit Tigers game, and somehow word of mouth was like, Leanne's home and her parents are gone. And I'd open the door and,
and people
there'd
were
be
there.
30 people. And what's weird is, how did that happen? Because we didn't have
texting,
cell phones. Did we just drive by people's cars and like roll down the window and say,
hey,
it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you could have a party within 10 minutes in that time frame.
I had a very interesting party at my house.
Okay.
I had to call the police on my own party.
I did too.
Isn't that crazy? We had a pool. We had a pool in the backyard, and the sound just bounced off. Yeah. And my neighbors were not happy.
No, yes.
It was bad. I mean, it was fun.
It was totally fun. But it helps with your family that they know you called, because it kind of like, oh, it was so bad, I just didn't know what to do. And yeah, I've done that story. But the thing is, like, our neighbors knew, which means your family was going to know anyway, your parents, but no one was like super tattletales. It just meant they knew what was going on for sure.
Yeah.
But still fun and part of our upbringing.
Yes.
So you are very close to a group of women still to this day that I adore. But I have to say, I was crushed when you took Denise Levy.
I'm so sorry. That's right.
So Denise is a friend that's friends with Denise Kort, and she was in our elementary group and in our neighborhood that I grew up. And Denise has this smile that is just beautiful. And she's a lovely person. And so we lost her to a move to West Bloomfield. And you had this great niche of people that you were friends with. And I was like, do I need to be Jewish to join this group? Like, I loved the group so much, and I was like, darn it, I can't belong in that group. But
that's not true.
No. But it was just a beautiful group of women.
Thank you.
You still to this day, how did you decide to maintain that friendship and be able to get together and have it last over 40 years at this point, or about 40 years?
We had our ebbs and flows, but Denise, Nancy, Susie, and myself, we keep in touch, the four of us.
Yes.
And we try and see each other once or twice a year. Well, I see Susie. She lives here in Huntington Woods.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. And then when I go to Chicago, when I go to the city, I see Nancy Newman because she lives in the city. My sister lives 5 minutes from Denise. Now it's Denise Kaplan. Denise Levy Kaplan. So it just works.
And her sister Dana. Is Dana in Chicago as well?
No, she's here in Birmingham.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's just when you said about high school, it reminded me of how big it was. And having Denise move, it was like I didn't even know that area. I thought she was moving an hour away. To me, it was so different. Like Walnut Lake, you have lakes out there. I was like, where are they moving to? Yeah. Any teachers that you had a good or bad situation with at Groves before we leave that?
From Groves?
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? I remember more from or junior high, like Mr. Buck,
Yeah.
Mrs. Herfalski.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Yes.
They had a thing, remember?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, there were a lot of teacher hookups. Which I was also thinking back in looking in junior high or even high school, we did get our teachers early in their career.
Yeah.
Like some of them that are still on Facebook, I think, well, you're only celebrating your 70th or your whatever age. I was like, you had to have been a baby when you were.
They probably started at like 24 years old.
Yes.
Isn't that wild?
Crazy. Yeah. Very wild. Being in the play, did you follow anybody after Groves? Because we've had, and I haven't gone into this, but I do want to talk about it with another guest. We had a big group of people that were successful in some fashion in movies or film or plays or whatever. Have you kept in touch with any of those folks?
No.
Okay. Yeah. But we do. We have a very accomplished class before and after us that have gone on. The Raimies. Remember
the Raimies Binder? Didn't we have Binders? Mike Binder or something?
Okay. The Raimies I know did like Spider-Man and that Wizard of Oz movie, the film with Johnny Depp called the Oz, I believe, and they filmed it in Pontiac, Michigan.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah,
it was very cool. And they had a lot of teachers supporting that movie.
Oh, okay.
So very cool that they brought in some local folks. Okay. I'm going to ask some fun trivia questions. Back in the day, Paula Abdul or Janet Jackson?
Back in the day, it was Paula Abdul.
I know, right? I mean, the dancing. Billy Joel or Bruce Springsteen?
Well, for me, it's Billy Joel.
Yeah, I know. I saw him actually in Tampa. He was still so freaking phenomenal.
I'm sure.
I was exhausted going to the concert and he's playing. I was like, gee, something's wrong here. I don't know if you watch much TV, but Married with Children or Roseanne?
I watched Married with Children.
Yeah, I did too.
Christina Applegate, love her.
And I love her now. I mean, she's had this great long career and I bless her health. I mean, I'm glad she got that star on Hollywood. Like we're friends, but it was so cool. And Reese's Peanut Butter Cups or Kit Kat?
Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, 100%.
Right? The best invention ever. The commercial where they ran into each other.
Yep.
Perfect. Just at the end here, so thank you very much. I just want to wrap up. I always tell people this is like the final segment where I play off of my name called the Dr. Pepper or the Sweet Life. You mentioned what is all going to look. So many times you've been dedicated to the store, but you've also thought about, is this really what I want to do for the rest of my life? So your dedication is worth noting because you could have left many, many times. But how do you foresee it after that lease expires?
Oh, don't tell my employees.
No, I know.
I'm teasing, right? Don't tell anybody in St. Clair Shores or Grosse Pointe. How do I hope to imagine?
Yes.
I would like to move to Chicago.
Yeah.
Not the city so much, but just my girlfriends live there. My sister lives there.
Yes.
I think I'm ready for a change. Would I stop working? I like to spend too much money to stop working.
Right. And travel.
So I would probably have to get, some sort of a job. Nothing, no huge.
Yeah.
But
something on your terms.
Yes. So stay tuned.
Yes. No. And I don't blame you because it was also fascinating to me. We had a huge amount of our graduates go to Michigan State. We had some go to Michigan, but there was a big chunk that went to Michigan State. And then that group migrated to Chicago. So there was a big 100%. Group that went to Chicago. So it's like, you're going to run into people we went to school with there for sure.
Yes.
And it's a great place to be. Yeah. So I love that area.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, I live in Royal Oak. I love it here. I'm happy here.
Yes.
I've been here 27 years.
I mean, you were the first in that complex, correct?
Yeah.
I remember when that was built, I was like, this is like for the Mary Tyler Moore crowd that's just very cool living in the townhomes. It was like.
It's funny. It's nice. I'm happy here.
Yeah. And you're right by the expressway to go wherever you want to go.
Yes, it's the best.
Yeah. What's your drive to St. Clair?
17 minutes.
But who's counting?
Yeah. No, it's less than 20. It's so easy because I'm right here. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Oh
my God, Leanne, it's so good to see you.
Well, you too. And it's been fun and it goes by so fast. So I hope you had a good time, but I'm just so glad to have you join me. And again,
Thank you.
I've enjoyed staying in touch with you, even if it's just been briefly to send fun things back and forth. So I look forward to seeing you in person. And we are going to have our reunion next year. So
that's what I saw.
Yes. Hopefully we'll have all of that organized and be able to see
That would be great. Perfect.
So, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Have a great long weekend and we will chat soon.
Okay, great.
All right, friends. That's it for this episode of Class Reunion Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. And if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the show, write us a review, and share this podcast with a friend. Until next time.